I mean, when y'all go to Ibiza, holla at your girl. I mean, I feel like y'all got the coolest places. Summertime, I remember Trey Murphy. Hey, auntie, I'm going over. Yeah, the union got us going to Italy. I said, you know what? Welcome to She's Got Time presents the Space Maker series. I'm Swin Cash, and today we're spotlighting women who don't just take up space, they build it, they own it, and they make room for others to rise. Joining me on this series, two of my girls, I'm excited to have them. We have Erica Swilley, who I've known for a really, really long time. And Erica currently is the executive director for the NBPA Foundation. And we also have my other girl, Morgan Cato, and she is the executive vice president of player operations for the NBPA. So we got the union up in here, y'all. We about to talk about it. We're about to talk about it. Because you all have had some changes, both of you coming into kind of the NBPA, and we see all the changes that have happened, but I also see this plethora of space being created for women and also women of color to be in that C-suite kind of position. Can y'all talk to me a little bit about maybe space makers or people you saw creating space as you were coming up throughout your career?
Well, number one, thank you for having us.
Yes, absolutely.
And we're excited for everything that you're doing, making time, taking up space yourself, and creating more of the platform for us to tell a little bit more authentic storytelling. So,
absolutely.
Regarding just even the platform, I think I can start with for ourselves. We've just been doing the work. I think we've really been doing the work and unapologetically doing the work. And at some point, when you continue to be fierce and determined, the right people who want to get things right, they see that. They want to be part of that. They want to cultivate it. They want to grow it. And then they're saying, come on, we need you on this side of the house. Let's get to work. I think that's been a little bit of just how it's happened. It hasn't been anything other than that.
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree. And definitely people speaking our names in rooms that we weren't in. And we try to do the same now that we are in our positions. But definitely we have been very intentional with the people that we have brought into the PA. And I think those who have helped, open the doors for us as well.
Yeah. I think one of the things that's so fascinating about both of you is the ability to pivot. And you talk about doing it unapologetically. But for all the women that are out there, this is one of the reasons why we created this ecosystem of She's Got Time, is that women with careers in sports, you need to understand that just because you're at a job, your skill set is what really matters. How you pivot that into another job. Can both of you just kind of just talk about that briefly?
Yeah, I will say too, it's important not to make working in sports your identity. While what we do, we love what we do, but it's also not who I am. I don't think it's exactly who Morgan is or who you are, Swin. And to your point, having those transferable skills and being just a genuine and authentic person allows you to pivot in different spaces. Because I'm showing up as who I am, authentically me, in every room, and either you like it or you don't. But me being a disruptor has allowed me to get to where I am today and allowed me to move from being an assistant in the Detroit Pistons, Detroit Shock community relations team to where I am now, and just growing and learning along the way.
Yeah, Erica's being a little modest.
She's being very modest. I was wondering if you was going to go there. I'm like, go ahead, gather her more. Gather her. I was about to gather her.
Because to answer your question, with Erica's been in this game 20 years. 20 plus in the sports space, multiple sport industries. And to the point of how we cultivate and move and pivot, honestly, we're picking up so much along the way. And I think the assumption that this is just so cookie cut and you only do one thing to, or take one path to go a certain direction, that's not accurate. So I think even to dispel that myth, that's a great start point. I mean, I'll even look at you and your versatility and all the things that you've done, from being a hooper to a mama to being on air to running things behind the scenes. It's not so, cookie cut. And I think the pivot also happens as we just adapt and evolve in different spaces. Even with me, I was actually just telling my fiance this morning, that I'm still just in awe of like how I'm in this space, because particularly being at the mecca of like the NBA reunion here at Summer League, you look at all these paths and who's doing the work. And here I am, like a Hoop Dreams kid from New York who never played professionally, started out in nonprofit, knew she loved the people business, was in investment banking, made it through a bankruptcy, did financial services. And because I unapologetically love sport, I never stopped. And I had a whole career and a whole other lifestyle before I even got into sport. So when we talk about mastering the pivot, I think it's more of the path that evolves as we move through this thing called life. And to Erica's point, when you love what you do, you don't even feel it as much. You're just like, I can't shut up about it. I can't not be in the space. And none of us know how to be quiet about the things that we're really passionate about. So I think it also forces other people to adjust.
It does. And I think being comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yes.
Like, because when those pivots and things happen, and I'll share this with y'all because I find it's almost like I want to do a case study on it, right? And so, 6 years, part ways with the Pelicans, and you move on. And so I'm like, y'all know me, like it's go mode. It's boom, 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 boom. But I'm also taking the time for myself. I'm always also taking the time to get pruned and to make sure that I'm shaping and shedding whatever needs to be shed, because I want to prepare myself for what's next. But it was amazing for other people to come up, and everybody was so sad about like, are you okay? And I love the fact that my people love me. They're like, you good?
We all right,
Everything all right?
Yep, exactly.
Like, I need to pull up on anybody. And I said, you know what? It's that y'all need to understand, like, one thing about me is like, I'm always a realist about what it is. So when one thing ends, that's because God says it's time to move.
Absolutely.
And I stand firm on that. I'm not going to question why this happened, because if I was supposed to be a place, God would have had me in that place.
Right.
And so when your foundation's set in that, to your point, Erica, your foundation cannot be set, or your identity cannot be set in just like the job you have or the career you have. Like, people have to still see you. So I come bibbidi bopping through this bibbidi bopping here in Vegas, and joyful, and they're like, hey, here's my babies or whatever. And then, and I'm going to stop because I know we got to move on. But, one person was like, oh, you're staying here at the Wynn. And I was like, yeah, there are partners. Second of all, we could pay for a room. And third, where else was I supposed to be?
Right.
Like trying to find a motel 8 down the street. Right. But people need to be comfortable to know that women it's okay. I think Candace Parker just talked about it, like her and Gino's relationship. And it's like, it's cool. We don't like each other. It's good. But people need to be okay that things change and that you're going to be okay. Talk about that more.
I think that there's a lot there. That's a whole loaded statement, and I think particularly in this ecosystem that we're in, people have, as Erica mentioned earlier, really built their identities, on this business, who you're affiliated with, what player you scouted, who you've recruited, like what staff you're part of. But the business is more than that, right? And the same way we recognize that there's going to be volatility, the reason I think why our moves and our pivots were so pivotal is because you don't see enough of us in the space. Yeah. Right. So when, one shifts or moves to another, you recognize that deficit. And I think there's just a scarcity matter of seeing like, hey, there are great people in the paint and they're not there anymore. So it's like, oh, there's the lamenting and there's the mourning. But this is the business at the same time. And the things that got us into those roles means that we just have more to do in other spaces and other opportunities and other shapes and forms. But there's a shaping, the media plays into that a lot, even absolutely. Down to roster movement and trades and all that. If, people actually recognize the disruption of lives behind the scenes, you really glamorize that, but this is also part of the business, but it doesn't define who we are at all.
And what I love about the business of sports is that it's transcendent in a way where you're looking at a young girl that you don't have to play sports to be in sports. You can play sports and pivot out of sports and come back and own a sports team or invest in a league. And that's what we're trying to create with this ecosystem of how you get into spaces, create spaces. And I think y'all are doing it at the NBPA. I'm watching You know, obviously we had CJ on the team, and, you know, there's obviously some changes happening with your leadership as well. But what I love to see is having these conversations with guys that will come up to me and say, look, I know you, when you played in the W, you were on executive committee. We're going through this, that, the other, and have those real authentic conversations. Yes. And that's why I say women in spaces is good for business, because dudes don't want to talk to dudes all day. Women don't want to talk to women all day.
No, and we bring a different perspective that men can't bring. And I also say, like, I know I've been successful in my career working with these players, majority of them who are Black, who have Black mothers and grandmothers and aunts. And so there's that comfortable factor just stepping into the room, you know, and it helps to break down, you know, barriers and for them to open up to you more and to be like, okay, I know you're here and you have my back, and let's get to work.
For sure. And even as you just talk about the PA, I think it's an exciting time for just where we're going, you know, with things with, you know, Iggy really assembling his most recent crew of Avengers, you know, people who
he really out there. Iggy, where you at, boo? You out here in your bag. You're out here in your bag, Iggy. You're out here in your bag, because you know what? The first rule in leadership is knowing what you need around you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And people, sometimes it's not going to be the fastest thing, but you need to do the work to listen, to learn, and then put what you need around you. Because people think that day to day is just that you're in the weeds. You better have leadership, foot soldiers, people that can process, put it together. So when I saw like the different people he was hiring, I said, oh, Morgan about to have a whole process together. She about to get these players together. What, Erica? And then Erica, we got to get this money to these players. What they doing? Let's get them in the community. Let's get them out here. It's that presence that y'all give. Yeah. And people, just quickly, I got to do this because I want to put y'all on the spot. Tell me, tell the ladies what you're most looking forward to in these roles that you have with NPA and the impact that you can have. What are you bringing to the table?
Yeah, I mean, I know for me, I always tell people I was on the team side for the last 19 years, NBA, WNBA, and I loved what I did on the team side.
You won a few championships. Go on. Go ahead, girl.
1, 2, maybe 3. But 2W, I always have to say 2W, 1 NBA.
That's a chip.
Yes, that's very true. But for me, you know, on the team side, I was focused on those players on that team and that market. And in this role, I'm able to focus on all 450 plus players globally. And so I'm able to take the work that I was doing on the local level and just take it up a notch. And really being able to be there for players and help them along their philanthropic journey.
Powerful. It's powerful.
It's so powerful. And to see that light bulb go off and for them to understand the unique platform that they have to give back and help others is truly powerful and rewarding for me. So.
Absolutely. And I think to double down on that, just when you think of where the state of the game is and the power and impact that today's athlete can really command, it's exciting to be part of that and to really support and amplify it. I think in this next iteration of the work that we're doing, what I'm so pleased to, you know, really be part of is how we stream it all together, right? Creating a platform for these men, for these athletes to be forces beyond just what happens on the court. And like, I'm just a supporting cast member, right? Like it's about making sure that they have the platform that they're set up for success in the right way. It's not really about us, you know, but there's still power and influence in doing that. And when I see the potential that today's range of athletes have to have so much influence, whether it's from an equity perspective, whether it's the way the game is moving. I mean, we're now in a wonderful space of positionless basketball. Like anybody can really do this game globally. Helping to further that a little bit longer, helping guys stay on the court a little bit longer, helping with, you know, heightening performance a bit better. It's cool to do that from a macro perspective because, I mean, my first decade was league. And that's really understanding the full core business. And then I went deep in team. So that was exclusively siloed in performance of a team. And I get to spread wide again and really help amplify what our guys are doing. And Dre is really creating room for us to create the space and shape, but we're following the roadmap of the guys. That's the biggest difference. It's not just about, okay, hey, what does a governor want? What's in compliance? Like, we're thinking outside of the box, and we're reinforcing that space of where the guys want to go. So I'm having fun.
Yes,
doing that.
Look, she gets excited when it comes to talking about these guys, and I love it for both of you because we had Amy Salmonson from CBS Sports on, and Amy said something that really just hit for me. She said, we produce to the talent, and I think about that as the same exact thing at the union. You produce to the players. And so every system as you're putting in place is about how are we amplifying these guys, but how are we putting them in a position to win? And when I think about why I took the job and going to the NBA after retirement, one of the things I would always talk about is I would sit and talk about, like, if I was on a team, this is what I would do, not just how to build the roster out and talent that I saw. I think one of the biggest missing parts is that ability to understand the nuances of the game, where the business side affects all of that too. And so if you understand both sides of it, both of you understand both sides of it. So you're able to take that to the union and say, okay, we're going to cast that wider net. And especially we have international players. It's a different thing with them too. Right. And so now you're not just here. I mean, when y'all go to Ibiza, holla at your girl. I mean, I feel like y'all got the coolest places. Summertime. I remember Trey Murphy. Hey, auntie, I'm going over. Yeah, the union got us going to Italy. I said, you know what?
But part of that is about exposure for them too.
Yeah.
You know, and even when you just talk about the brand of the PA and where it's going, I mean, I remember both team side and league side, I just didn't have as much exposure to what was going on. And I think there was a traditional lens of it being a real union house. Really right now, what it feels like is a players' league to a certain degree. And that doesn't mean that anyone is anti-team or anti-league. We're actually in a wonderful spirit of partnership, but it's through, you know, the lens of the player first. So even the work that we're doing with the NBA now is wonderful. Like, really, you know, there's the bipartisanship is like almost like, you know, it's in a wonderful
At least
space.
we got somebody with some bipartisanship. Y'all stay there, okay? Stay right there for me. Stay right there for me. You know I love you more. Y'all stay right there for me. We need to have somebody with some bipartisanship. Look, but before we get out of here, I want each of you to answer this question because you talked about the pivots in your career. Everybody always asks, what would you tell your younger self? I don't want you to tell your younger self the fluff. I want you to tell your younger self, like, give me something that they need to know so they don't get bumped upside their heads. Give me something that you want your younger self to know that's like, girl, if I knew this back then, I'm going to be all right. And it could be something fun. It could be something, you know, I've learned along the way, but what's not going to get you to bump upside your head?
I mean, I would tell myself, one, to be patient. It's going to work out.
Ooh, that's a good one for you, Eric. Ooh.
Be patient. And I think right now, you know, especially these young folks, they're so used to like instant gratification and enjoy the process along the way. I think everybody is so worried about what's next. Like, okay, I got this job. When am I getting promoted? What's next? And instead of really like planting your feet and enjoying and taking in the moment. And so to slow down, enjoy the process. And I mean, especially when young women say to me, like, is there ever a time when you failed? I say, I fail every single day. And, you know, but I'm learning from my failures and I'm growing from my failures. So don't be afraid to fail and take risks and be a disruptor.
Love that.
Yeah.
More?
I think I would tell my younger self to reframe who I was competing against. Right? Particularly in a world of scarcity when you don't see your image, your likeness, people doing the work that you think you'd like to do and you don't know how to do it, automatically you think you're competing with otherness, right? So it's always, you know, what do I need to do to get into this space? I didn't go to this school, so I have to make up for this in other areas, or, you know, I didn't have this relationship, etc. So I found myself trying to compete with, and not in a fierce way, but because I'm a competitor through and through, but not in a fierce cutthroat way. But I should have just been focused on competing against me. Like, how do I continue to one up myself? Because the reality is I was also competing against mediocrity.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
And, right? In a lot of spaces. So if I just actually, reframed it to, oh, wait a minute, I got this. Okay, keep going. Not, I got them. Mm-hmm. If I got this, then keep going. Just imagine, not even imagine, I'm where God has me right now. This is right exactly where I need to be. Mm-hmm. But also just imagine where else he can take me in his time if I wasn't competing with otherness, if I was just focused on continuing to be the best version of myself. So for all those young folks out there that's keeping up with what we call the Joneses and looking at everyone else, focus on refining you and becoming an SME, a subject matter expert in something that you really love, that you'll be passionate about. I know we say the cliche, cheesy stuff that, hey, if you're passionate about what you're doing, you never work in a day in your life. Mm-hmm. That's nonsense. Mm-hmm. It's work, but you'll enjoy it.
Have fun.
You'll enjoy it, and you'll make it better, and you'll make other people around you better. So I should have focused a little bit more on competing within me, as opposed to all the other people taking up way too much noise and energy around me.
Too much noise. And they be so loud and so wrong. Oh my goodness. Listen, ladies, I appreciate you both. You're doing amazing things at the NBPA. Look forward to watching you. Listen, these conversations are about leadership. They're about legacy, and what it means to actually be a space maker in today's world. And both of you are doing that. And I tell all the women that are out there, really, truly, to be a space maker, sometimes we're going to enter in rooms. You're going to have to build the floor. You're going to have to build the walls. You're going to have to build the roof. But when you walk through that space, you make sure you leave that door open for your sisters behind you.